I would ask that everybody be respectful, kind, and keep their cool tonight. And with that, I call our meeting to order. And I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. So moved. And we'd like to add public statements. Good. I have a seconder. Any questions on that? All in favor? Conflict of interest declarations? None. Adoption of minutes. The adoption of the minutes of June the 3rd, 2025, public hearing minutes. Councillor Land, seconder, Councillor Garden. Any question on those minutes? All in favor? Okay, June the 3rd, 2025, regular council meeting. Councillor Jonah. Seconder, please. Councillor Coates. Any question on those minutes? All in favor? Aye. June the 6th, 2025, special closed council meeting. Should I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Councillor Kennedy. Councillor Land, seconder. Any question? All in favor? Aye. June the 17th, 2025, committee of the whole meeting. Motion. Councillor Jonah, seconder, Councillor Coates. Any question? Being none, all in favor? Aye. Carried. Consent agenda, there's nothing. Public and administrative presentations. Troy? What's up?
Well, I think I ranted there pretty good. I've been in business for myself for 25-30 years and I know that when we watched the last meeting and it was under consideration that they shouldn't do a traffic study during tourist season. This actually came out of the developers person that works with them said because more or less it's all flawed during that period. But in theory, if we're going to put 48 units up in that area, which we all know, we can think past next Thursday, is eventually going to be 96 units. And you take from 75 children over the course of 5, 6, 7 years, and then add another 75 children. No water, no sewer, no sidewalks, and no place for the children to be. And that to me is the most dangerous part of the whole project, the traffic study. And I know government will say, well, we're going to allow them to do a study. And then we'll say they can make the decision that way. This body here is relinquish the next step. That's fine, I understand that. And the traffic study to even be considered, not being done during the busiest time of year, when the most children that live in this area are going to be traveling on this road is totally ridiculous. And I don't know how we have to point this out. I don't know how this isn't just plain old common sense. Because that's what it is. And that we're not getting involved with the environmental study. We're not getting involved with the distance because Jim would be smart enough to do the distance before any of this was done. Because you'd have to be completely out of your mind to risk that money without doing it. And Jim bent a little bit of the rules. It is what it is. I'm not here to rant about Jim. I think he's done one hell of a job. But he's made a mistake. And I know why he's doing it. Because he's at the tail end of his career. He wants the cash on. On the Rishabaka River, I bought 4 kilometers of waterfront. And I could have made $250,000 of summer there, $250,000 of summer there, $250,000 of summer there. You know what? I didn't do it. You know why? It's not the right thing to do to nature.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rebecca Davis.
Hi, I lost my voice a few days ago, so this is a very inopportune time for me to be addressing you. I don't want to speak here tonight. I wasn't planning to come here and speak honestly, but I understand some of the timing of letters and things like that, they won't be read out loud. So I hope most of you got our letter this morning from my family. So I know a lot of other people on our street have also sent letters. in opposing what's going on. I think you can hear me. Uh, we put our trust in the zoning when we build our home. We put our trust in all of you to keep our families safe and our property safe. So I'm standing here so you can put a face to the name and the letter when my family's impacted. I really can't believe we've gotten this far with this. I was shocked at how far this has come with it. That someone saying, no, just no. It feels like the residents of the area who, many of whom were courageous enough to write, it's not easy, this is scary. This is terrifying for a lot of people, and yet still we're here opposing it. It feels like we're doing more research and due diligence than you. That's not okay. That's the bare minimum for job. Bare minimum is to protect us. When things seem shady and crooked, they are. If it seems too good to be true, it is. We elected you because we believed you were smart enough and brave enough to stand up to things like this for the residents. We believed in you. This is our family's safety. Please do the right thing. It's already scary enough for our kids on Hillsborough Road waiting for the bus. And now you want to put this right across the street. Please do the right thing.
Thank you. Personnel Committee report.
Yeah, just a brief update that the CAO interviews are currently ongoing.
That's pretty much it. We conducted 3 interviews and we've gone out to go back through the list and see if we can come up with some more. There's one possible candidate, but right at present, we don't have the candidate. Emergency measures.
I attended a Zoom meeting on comfort. And if there's power on, snowstorms or whatever, we have 3 places in on the Albert that are going to be, we're going to meet with the Red Cross and EMO and have them it added to the last list of the 18 cities and towns and villages that have comfort centers. That's what it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Recreation Committee.
Since we last met, had 2 people that have asked to join the rec council or rec committee. Joanne Button and Clint Rebuke. Joanne Button, I think most of us know Joanne here, she's on the board of CRC. She's hoping, which Joanne's hoping, which probably gonna happen, to revive the Albert County Rec Council, the Albert Rec Council here in Dublin. Clint Rebuke, he's a VP of Fundy Hiking Trail Committee. Well, as a volunteer coaches minor hockey. They both have met the applicable requirements to join. So I would like to make a motion to have them added to the rec. Move that council hereby appoints Joanne Buckland and Clint Rebuke to the Recreation Committee, subject to the applicable requirements set forth in his terms of reference.
Seconder, Councillor Land. Any question on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Thank you.
And other than that, our next meeting is still scheduled for August 13th.
Okay. ATV Access and Road Streets Committee.
Nothing, you haven't, been in touch with the, ATV. They're waiting, supposed to send maps, but I did see in a couple of, Salisbury, had been passed one, but, it was cut down way to what they asked for, so I presume the same, probably the reason George didn't, stuff for housing. Because they asked every road and street in Bundy, Albert.
Thank you, sir. Capital investment report from administration, the capital investment plan for the Canadian Community Building Fund.
So council approval is sought for the 24-28 capital investment plan under the Canada Community Building Fund, which allocates $1,653 and $1,785 to Bundy, Alberta over 5 years for critical infrastructure projects. The CCBF provides stable federal funding for municipal infrastructure. Bundy, Alberta's plan, developed with Englobe Corp, our engineers, aligns with our asset management plan, includes the following 5 projects: a utility gap analysis of all our utility departments at 189,500. Bundy View Drive stormwater pipe replacement, $290,000. King Street culvert replacement, $545,000. Hillsborough sanitary sewer upgrades, $570,000. And the 5th being and final being School Street storm repair water pipe replacement phase 1 at $59,285. All projects except the 5th are fully funded by the CCBF. The actual cost to complete School Street stormwater pipe replacement is $925,100. Phase 1 would be the preliminary stages of the project and IE design. So our proposal is to approve this tonight and knowing that if things change in 2 or 3 years down the road and we have critical infrastructure that requires, moves placed with any of these items on asset management plan and becomes more critical, we can change these at any time with resolution of council.
Hey, thank you. And we need a resolution.
Whereas administration has presented a 5-year capital investment Canada Community Building Fund for the 2024-2028 allotment of $1,001,653,785 net. And whereas the capital investment plan requires a resolution of council to be adopted, be it resolved that the document entitled Fundy Albert 5-year capital investment plan for the Community Building Fund, CCBF 2024 to 2028 be adopted.
Seconder for that, please. Councilor Barron, any questions on the motion?
Just, oh, sorry. Me first.
Go ahead.
Perfect. No, I appreciate the treasurer at the end of it acknowledging that monies can be moved. Just, remind Fundy Albert that there's more than just the 3 former villages that this money can be spent on. And it would have been nice to see some acknowledgement that other areas besides the 3 former villages were warned. So I would only hope in the future that we'll see some funds that would impact the LSD areas as well.
Thank you. But Councilor Ryan?
Yes, I just like to echo what I commented on before about this proposal. Is that this council is gonna have a possibly new councils next year, because it's going to be an election year. And that these are numbered in order, but it is good to know that we can change them around when time comes. Because if there is a sanitary problem in one of the towns or wherever the money's needed, it can be changed out of the order of which it is and added to. So I think that's important to stipulate and make sure it's in the minutes that the money can be spent elsewhere whenever council approves the spending. The ventures. Thank you.
Anybody else? Hey, man, go ahead.
In the document, it has a few dates for the start of some of these projects. Is it possible, if this were to pass this evening, to have an update on those dates, as some of them have already passed, so actually all of them have passed? Possible.
I think there was some dates that would have included, technically when we say the money's gonna be spent, like earned.
Yeah.
From Candy Community Building Fund, because we don't get the money all at once, it comes in chunks over 5 years. Part of it, we had put in projected start times, so those will change, but it's just, it required projected funds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in the future, if this does pass, we can get some updated dates for when these are planned to move forward.
Most definitely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Once it's approved and we create a plan for the coming year and next year, there'll be more concrete.
Anybody else?
No, I had a couple questions, but both counselors there have addressed my
Okay.
concerns,
thank you.
questions.
So, no. All in favor, yes?
Aye.
Passed. Third reading by title. Who's gonna do the honors?
I move the council give third and final reading to by title only to bylaw number 25 WAP 069 FA 01. A bylaw to amend ministerial regulation 21 WAP 069 00.
Okay, we have a seconder for that? Councilor Garden. I guess we're good for questions. Comments?
Yep, so I do have a statement that I would like to read. So thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. I want to express my objection to the rezoning of PID 05115621. While I fully understand and support the need for more housing options within our community and across the village of Plenty Albert, my concerns are not about housing itself. They are about ensuring that proper protocols and processes are being followed. I respect the work of Plan 360 and appreciate the recommendations. However, it is important to remember they do not reside in this area. Their involvement is largely procedural. They're tasked with checking boxes, not living with long-term outcomes. As the only counselor who lives in this area, I've received numerous personal phone calls and messages from residents expressing serious concerns. I have a responsibility to take each of those concerns into account. I also want to highlight that the current proposal is just phase one of a larger development plan. Once this initial phase is approved, additional phases are expected to follow. But we do not have a clear understanding of the full cumulative impact this larger number of homes will have on infrastructure, the environment, and the character of the area. That's why I strongly urge this council to consider making environmental impact assessments, EIA, mandatory for future developments of this kind. We should not approve any more rezoning requests unless all appropriate channels, including proper environmental review, are fully completed. Let's ensure that growth happens responsibly and transparently with the long-term interests of our community at the heart of every decision.
Anybody else?
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
So you made a comment about the additional phases. So from the reading I've done, my understanding is this is for the 48, but they have to come back to get approval to do anything more.
That's correct.
Would that be correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so my second question or statement, I guess, is the process, and I understand we are just the first phase of the process. We approve the rezoning is what I understand, and after that, they have to meet all the criteria. If they don't meet that criteria, does that information come back to council?
No, not necessarily. If you wanna follow up, you can ask us where things are at, but once you approve the rezoning, there's a set of conditions that needs to be satisfied before we can issue a permit to actually develop the meeting home part. But no, once this process is done, it no longer becomes a council process. It comes between us and the developer and appropriate provincial agencies.
So you would have the authority to stop it if they did not meet the requirements.
First, they'll have to satisfy all conditions before, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I love this question. Probably not, eh? I got a good one.
I just add to that, but we would be notified through the permit process of when the permits would be issued, I guess.
Correct, yes.
Yes, so we would know if everything was conditioned, if all the conditions were met, because we get the monthly report from Plan 360.
Correct, but if there was conditions that weren't met,
Well, it just wouldn't, the permit wouldn't be issued and.
right, but my point was, we would not be notified of what conditions weren't met.
Correct, unless we follow that. Yeah, that's,
We don't read anymore.
no, that's it, and then if it passes, then they have to release it.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded?
Okay.
One nay.
Resolution of the council established under Article 59 of the Community Planning Act. Considering that White Birch Subdivision Inc. has made an application to rezone the property bearing PID 05115621 to the DG Zone Dwelling Group to allow a mini home park, and considering that the council has approved this request subject to conditions. It is resolved that notwithstanding any other provisions to the contrary, the lands, buildings, and structures developed on the aforementioned property are subject to the following terms and conditions. That the permit main use of the property be limited to mini home park subject to section 4-9-3. A passive recreation use, institutional uses like commercial uses subject to section 3.19 and recreation uses. That the permitted secondary use of the property limited to a home-based business or home industry subject to section 3-11. That all on-site maintenance, etc., garbage collection, snow removal, and infrastructure, access to fire hydrants are the responsibility of the property owner. That all development must follow the National Building Code fire safety setbacks. The approval of the local fire chief must be obtained regarding access for emergency vehicle prior to the issuance of a development permit. That future development of the property shall be done in substantial conformity to the attached site plan. That a 30-meter riparian buffers from each side of the watercourse identified along the northern property line be maintained. That a comprehensive water study be conducted and submitted to the Environmental Science and Protected Division of the Department of Environment and Local Government in order to determine if the water supply source can provide adequate water quantity and acceptable water quality for the extended purposes over the short and long term without creating any potential impacts to existing groundwater uses in the area prior to the issuance of a development permit. That it is the sole responsibility of the owner to maintain a secondary access for an emergency exit on Justin Drive in perpetuity. A traffic impact study is to be conducted and submitted for review to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure in respect to traffic flow on Route 114 prior to
During off season.
prior to the issuance of a development permit.
So I checked.
That a site distance report is to be conducted and submitted,
Don't take pictures for water, that's just common.
conducted and submitted for review to the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure prior to the issuance of a development permit. That a plan
This is the
showing
biggest
that
car
all
stuff ever seen.
streets
And I watched Monkey Fall apart over 6 years. This is disgrace.
Thank you, sir.
What are you really doing?
Hey.
You guys are a disgrace.
That's
I
not,
will get even.
I will start that paragraph again.
Please.
That a plan showing that all private streets within the proposed mini park respect the minimum road thickness of 150mm base and a 300mm sub base prior to the issuance of the development permit. And that a report be provided to the Regional Service Commission by a professional engineer licensed in the province of Brunswick. Confirmed streets met the requirements of a minimum road thickness of 150mm base, 300mm sub base prior to the issuance of a development permit.
I have a seconder.
I'll second.
Expert. Any questions on that? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried. One nay. Here. Mayor council statements and inquiries.
I have a passport.
I'd like to start.
So, Canada Day in Fundy Albert was a huge success. Hats off to the Elmer Rec Council. They did a fabulous job with their Canada Day. It was my understanding it was a switch to not have the barbecue and the activities up by the activity center. It was held at the rink, which was a wonderful area for it. The playground was full. There was a lineup for the barbecue. It was very well organized. And thank you again to the Elmer Rec Council for that and to the volunteers who set up the market. I think it was very well looked after. Thank you to Councillor Jonah for a great evening in Hillsborough. The fireworks went off without a hitch, so everything was good. The only other thing I would like to note is participation has come to a close. And the last I seen, we were 10th. Fundy Albert came 10th in the country. So
Nice.
that's a huge achievement, and it was done by a lovely committee that gave their time every Monday night to have a meeting to discuss different opportunities. So we will be having a celebratory barbecue or something planned at some point. But yeah, so that was great. Thank you very much.
Huge success. Councillor Lane.
Yes, haven't got much, but I do want to thank everybody for putting the Canada Day celebration together in Alma. Councillor Jonah and Hillsborough again. It's a good turnout, lots of people, the fireworks were good. Just a good day all around, fun day out, be able to get out, enjoy family and do other things. And hats off to the firemen for setting these things up and doing them. Keep everybody safe and no fires, all that kind of stuff. So big thank you to them as well. So, that's good for me.
Councillor Russell.
Thank you. As I was away, attending my own daughter's graduation, for the committee of whole meeting in June, I'd also like to extend best wishes to all the grads of 2025. I attended the Regional Southeast Regional Service Commission meeting, as did Mayor Campbell. There were two presentations. The first one on transforming healthcare in New Brunswick. This is where our community sponsors a student who is studying to be a family doctor, and that will come back to your area. So multiple towns and villages are currently already involved in this initiative. The second presentation was led by the commission itself, who's launched the GeoPortable Hub. Lots of data that the village could use as we continue to navigate our way through this process. Finally, I'm looking forward to an update on the Greensboro Lagoon at the next meeting as things are processing, and it'd be nice to be updated on that.
Thank you very much. Councillor John.
Well, I'm gonna touch on Canada Day as well. Alma, I didn't make it down, I was working Hillsborough, but staying as always, it went off very well down in Alma, a lot of people around. Kudos to the rec council down there, I just like, I can't say enough about them. You've got a good rec council down there, and they're amazing, they do a lot of work. As far as Hillsborough, I would like to publicly thank a few people that helped us out in Hillsborough for last night. Party Perfect, they supplied bouncing castles, fantastic people to deal with. Gateway Market donated a cake to us that was second to none, had more people asking if the little flags and stuff was plastic, everything was edible on it, it was amazing. They're just so wonderful to deal with, and really appreciate them. The Qantas, we couldn't do it without them, they supplied free hot dogs. Their building, they leave it wide open for the washroom facilities, that saves us from having to rent washrooms down there, which is savings. And the fire department, when the weather was kind of in question during the day, I kept contact with Andrew Snyder. He's just, he's a great guy to deal with, and if he tells me it's a go or it's not, I fully trust what he tells me. One thing I think that we really need to concentrate on, the fireworks were canceled in Alma. They are going to be for New Brunswick Day. every New Brunswick day and for what social media, people's looking for fireworks. There's no fireworks a month. There's nothing around southeastern New Brunswick for fireworks. We need to promote crap out of this to let everybody know that Alma is wide open for fireworks. Let's fill Alma for southeastern New Brunswick people. Be great for businesses. And we really need to get that out there loud and clear that Alma is going to be having fireworks New Brunswick Day. And like I said, let's plow some people in there.
Sounds good. Positive,
Great idea.
lots of stinky bugs.
I'm
Counselor
up.
Harry,
Okay.
you're up.
Well, I also attended the Canada Day events in Alma, Councillor Elderkin. And Mayor Campbell made a visit as well.
I didn't get any cake.
Well, you came too late.
I know.
because We did serve the cake and there was a lot of it, but the flags were not edible on it, so. There were some questions, I know, so we'll have to get some information on where you got the edible flags. It was great weather until the evening, great day, amazing turnout with residents and visitors. And of course, a big thank you to the Alma Rec Council and the board members and their family. Also, the market went off without a hitch. Also, a big thank you to the members of the Riverside Albert and Alma Fire Department. Although there wasn't any fireworks, the gentlemen were there, ready in the parking lot to make these fireworks go off, but because of the conditions, they weren't able to do it. I think that's a great idea. Councillor Jonah brought up that we need to promote this, so hopefully we can use our social media channels to promote this and bring everybody down to Alma and into Fundy Albert for New Brunswick Day. But that's all I have. I do have a few questions. Then I can ask those, Mayor.
That'd be all right.
Let's say council statement inquiries. It's just a follow up from our last meeting, the council of the whole. I wanted to ask about the progress of the audit package, if there is one. Either the 2023 and 2024 audits, where we're at, and maybe some dates.
So I don't have any dates,
Okay.
however, Sen, the auditor, Sarah is her name, she is currently on vacation, she's returning July 8th.
Okay.
So hoping by the latter part of next week, we'll have everything in a pretty bow and submit it to them, but we have to wait for her to get back from vacation, but we did touch base with her on Friday.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I did already ask my questions for the CCBF, which the treasurer did answer. As for the invoices for the Elm Water project, we did touch on this and we did get some more information afterwards from the last meeting. I'm just wondering, and I realize you may not have this available right now, but still want to ask the question, if we know currently how many invoices are outstanding or not paid, and what the total amount might be at this time? Is that too specific for this moment?
And I'm not prepared to
Okay,
answer,
that's
like,
okay.
I can tell you that we have paid the first invoice for Camille Legier,
Okay,
so that's off the list,
Good.
but that's
okay.
pretty much all I can.
So we'll
do
wait
right
for
now.
the
But we can
next
give you more
payroll.
information through email, if you wish.
That would be perfect. That is all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Coates.
Last one.
Go back.
Anyways, I attended the hurricane update with Government Canada and there was up on both tropical storms and hurricanes. The only thing they're hoping that it did go to seed like they did last year. One of the worst hurricanes went to missed all the east coast and went out to sea, but it was one of like a 5 category, which is the highest. They're very concerned with the temperatures and the water in the straits and oceans cause tropical storms. So we could get with that, but, we've got those approved. But, they want to, they'll be putting out notices within 72 hours of when they think one is gonna hit. So I will get that, and I'll get it to the clerk and get it through. I did then last night and saw the cake go, beautiful cake. I think they're gonna keep it. The people that cut it, they put it out, I think the mayor and I handed out napkins for them. We did our job anyways, and everybody was happy. And, the only thing that I'd like to see is this council never have a speak man like that did tonight. We do not have to put up with that. We can ask him to leave. If he doesn't wanna leave, then we can call the police to take him. That's all. That's very
Inappropriate.
I don't ban anything that's reasonable, but that was way closer.
It's getting there.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have one thing, Mayor, if I may.
You're sure.
Just one question. I've got a resident in Hillsborough call me, they're having some issues out on Gray's Island Road. The boondoggers camping overnight. They're still farming up there and, this guy blocked the road. He said he wasn't gonna move the morning and a few words changed hands. Anyways, the guy moved, but, is it possible for us to put any no parking signs up out there? It's around the side where the graveyard is. You take the road around and,
I don't see why not. I don't know.
It's not
As long as we own it.
Right, I think,
Yeah, it
what
has
if we
to
get
be.
permission from the landowner? Is that possible also? If we don't know.
I think, I'm not sure, but I don't think we can put signs on private land. I
Okay.
don't know.
Mrs. Sutherland sent us all the detail on that, what we can and cannot do. I think that she sent us a whole package.
Yeah,
But they're having some issues out there, even on the dike itself was one way. They're coming one way with hay and machinery and these guys going the other way. It's frustrating, I guess.
Yeah. I,
They own the land,
they own the land, that's right.
so
And tempers flare.
very quickly. And it's also,
But we can check into that to see whether we can put the signs in or even, you know, guide the person to where to get the proper signage maybe.
thank you.
You're welcome, thank you. I attended the Canada Day celebrations also in Elma, but I made a mistake. I went to the activity center first to the market. And so I didn't get any cake. But that's okay. It was well done, a good day. Alma was full of people. Went up to the rink, cakewalk was going on, that was well attended and everybody was doing a good job there. Then we went out to Cape and Rage, had lunch and went to Hillsborough. And got to serve cake to a lot of smiling kids and adults, and that was a really good day. So kudos to everybody that did a good job. I noticed a lot of Canada flags up on people's yards on the drive and decorations around Alma and different places, so it's great. I attended the gazebo meeting with Ian in Alma, and it was a really good meeting. People were positive, good energy, and good job, Ian. Also, UMNB orientation for new counselors, and I'm glad I went. It was informative, and I learned a few things. I also am now on the safety committee, and I attended my first meeting to stay on after our former mayor resigned, so I agreed to stay on that. I'm also on the I think I mentioned that last time. I'm also on the Trails Committee and the Tourism Ministry Committee. We did a team building exercise, with Every Lemon. And it was good, it was fun, a few laughs, some serious stuff, so I think it helped. Eden and I attended a meeting with Dan Tingley from Wood Restoration, Wood and Bridges and Development. He's selling bridges around the world, putting quite a few in Nova Scotia, and he can't sell one in New Brunswick. So we did agree that if he set up a meeting that we would attend with him with the province. So that was an informative meeting. So that's pretty much all for me right now. Anybody else? We're good? Excuse me. No, public statements. Kathy, oh, really? You're on.
I want to thank Ian for a great example of partnership with Crooked Creek. For project. That's amazing. It's been on Facebook, but it's a partnership with Conservancy and Conservancy, the S5 here, Bundy National Park, Friends of Bundy, all of them participated. The garbage bag container at the top and walk down the hill, probably your first time down at Crooked Creek, holding on to the roots of the trees. Most of us have done it 100 times. But it's a big job to come back up with barrel. So, but that initiative, which was actually started, I think, through the Conservancy group, but a great addition. It's made it on Facebook. People are looking at it and making comments, and the village has agreed to pick it up when it comes to the top. So, and the garbage barrel is over half full, so people are doing what the sign says, so that's great. Just in your participation, it is over, but I did read, I think this morning, that said it'll take a week or so to get all the totals in. So we're 11 in Canada, 3 in New Brunswick on the chart today, but once they get everybody's totals, hopefully we'll be higher, not lower. And the only other thing I was wondering if there was any update on your research for sound solutions.
No, I was perfect time. We have a guy that's down this neck of the woods, Peter, that's on the,
Thank you.
that guy knows sound. That's somebody right here in the village. So I would say that we will approach him. Get him to come in with that. I've actually done work with Peter and he knows the sound.
Yeah.
So instead of sourcing it out to somebody else, start spending money on bringing in, different sound companies. Got an amazing sound operator. You could definitely get us home.
I'll give an update.
Hey. Your gentlemen have anything to add?
You know, I don't.
No, all right, thank you very much. I guess that's it, closed session,
I'll make a motion to enter into closed session.
Councilor Elderkin, seconded by Councilor Rand. Any question? Favor? Aye.
Yeah, take your purse with you.
Car doesn't